do that? Well, I'm, kind of a natural. Mostly YouTube.
The Bad Guys was such a wild ride. It wasn't just a major instant hit with viewers all over the world. It also rose quickly to become one of the highest grossing movies in its opening weekend, raking in about $24 million in the weekend alone. It is safe to say that it's been a huge success. We know you definitely enjoyed all those twists and turns of the plot. In fact, we bet you were probably too wrapped up in all the action that you didn't notice all those mistakes in the movie. Don't worry, we didn't miss a thing. Here are all the mistakes you missed in The Bad Guys.
Surprise.
Surprise!
Life on land. This movie follows a gang of bad guys, all of which are actually criminal animals. In this city, these guys are so notorious that they are wanted by the police, right from the very first scene. Now, if you paid any attention to the movie, then you already know that it presents a very strange world. We mean animals and humans living together in a weird sort of utopia. Not to mention that both parties don't seem to be afraid of each other. Do we really need to stress just how unlikely this is? Anyway, let's just stick to the plot of the movie. Now we believe we speak for everyone when we say one of the first things we learned about animals long before grade school is that fish live in water and that they simply don't have the facilities to survive outside of water. As such, everyone knows that they can't survive on land, but for some unknown reason, Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha are an exception to this rule. All through the movie, the shark and the piranha are perfectly fine being on land. Even more surprising is the fact that they never return to their natural habitat. Well, the one-time piranha does return to the water. That was for the purpose of the mission, and it was more like a fountain, so that definitely doesn't count. It probably would have made more sense if they went into the water every now and then, just to survive. We also think that it would have been nice for the movie to give us some kind of explanation as to how exactly this was possible, because as far as we know, it's impossible. Also, we never really saw any other fish in the movie apart from Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha, so it is safe to assume the other fishes are in the water. This makes us even more curious as to why Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha are the only exceptions in this movie. Maybe DreamWorks did not think that anyone would pick up on this mistake. To be honest, it's not surprising that the studio assumed this. We mean they already had humans and animals peacefully coexisting, so they probably didn't think that anyone would raise questions or notice the plot holes of two aquatic animals being able to live on land.
What the thorax? Are you crazy?
What? I just wanted a longer car chase. It's the best part.
Tail wagging. This one was a very tiny detail, not enough to get past us though. You see, the entire business of tail wagging in the movie doesn't make a lot of sense. This movie paints a picture of the fulfillment that comes with doing something nice for other people, particularly without expecting anything in return. This is an underlying aspect of the movie that reoccurs till the end. At some point, Wolf gets to understand that if he does something selflessly, it will make him feel so good that his tails start to wag automatically. Now, this is true in real life. If you have a puppy at home, then you probably already know this. Where this becomes a problem in the movie is that there are actually no dogs in the movie. There's a tarantula, a shark, lots of guinea pigs, and even a piranha, some of which don't have tails if you actually think about it. The closest thing that has a tail is Wolf, and research proved that they do wave their tails. So why include the specific rule that would not apply to all characters? Well, it doesn't matter how happy they get, their tails simply don't wag, and a tarantula doesn't even have a tail to wag in the first place. Personally, we would have preferred that the tail wagging was maybe more of a tingle or, something like that. Every animal feels a tingle, so it just seems more appropriate. In their defense, maybe illustrating a tingle would have been too much of a hassle, unlike a tail wag. Fortunately, the movie was so good that only very few people caught this small inaccuracy.
Good.
But then you stole the purse.
No!
Professor Marmalade versus the guinea pigs. Remember when we all met Professor Marmalade and all thought that he was this really sweet guinea pig who only saw the best in others? He wanted to help everyone, including the bad guys. Help them become better versions of themselves. Yeah, I can't believe we fell for that. It turns out that the super sweet guinea pig was far from being sweet. In fact, he was actually the bad guy all along. This was a major plot twist in the movie because everyone kind of assumed that the bad guys were going to be the villains of the movie, but it turned out to be the Professor Marmalade. While we appreciate that he was a decent villain, there were some tiny inconsistencies that did not make any sense, and that is his domination of the other guinea pigs. We mean, Professor Marmalade is a guinea pig himself, so why was he bent on using the other guinea pigs as pawns to do his dirty work? And this is not the only thing that doesn't make sense. Okay, we can say that the professor is an anthropomorphic guinea pig, and that the remaining guinea pigs are just guinea pigs, right? But just like the inconsistency between Mr. Shark and Mr. Piranha, we can't help but wonder what makes Professor Marmalade so special or different from the other guinea pigs. As far as we can tell from the movies, he is the only guinea pig with human qualities, and this makes us wonder if all the other animals in the movie have the anthropomorphic kind and the ordinary animal kind. Who knows, maybe there's a ratio. Half of the animals have human characteristics while the other half are just ordinary animals. This is really confusing, and we hope that a sequel comes along to address this.
He's not gonna give it to you.
No, I believe that deep down Snake is a kind and generous soul.
The Meteorite switch. Another mistake in the bad guys was at the very end. It also turned out to be one of the biggest twists in the movie, so we almost didn't pick up on it. Almost. You see, at the end, when the gang was trying to get the meteorite away from Professor Marmalade, there is quite a plot hole, and we bet you didn't even realize it. While trying to rescue Mr. Snake, the bad guys head the meteorite on them. Now, if you've seen the movie, then you already know that the gang had the fake meteorite all along, and that is because Mr. Snake had switched the original with a fake one without telling the gang. Obviously, the wolf and the others didn't know this, so they managed to steal what they thought was the real meteorite. Instead of getting rid of it before going back to save Mr. Snake, they decided to take it along with them. First of all, this was a dumb idea, because if they had the real meteorite on them, they would have been giving Professor Marmalade more power, which is exactly what he wanted. Well, let's just chalk it up to the fact that they were too concerned for Snake to think straight. While this may be true, it also leads to that big plot hole that we were talking about. You see, the movie said the closer the helmet is to the meteorite, then the stronger its power. The problem is that since Mr. Snake had switched the meteorite, Professor Marmalade was moving away from the real meteorite and towards the fake one the gang had. So going by that logic, the powers of the helmet should have been very weak and almost impossible for the mind to control. But as we all saw, the helmet kept working just fine.
You want him? He's yours.
Regardless of these mistakes and plot holes, the bad guys was still a very good watch. So good that we bet you missed at least one of them. So how many of these did you catch? Or do you have any explanations for the plot holes? Let us know in the comments. Do like this video if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on an awesome content like this.
It's like I got a rhythm section in my fin.